Hello YouTube, Chrome Freak here. Little Maddie, gonna help me and assist me again. Okay, this is gonna be the second part of putting back the Bulgarian Makarov, a complete detailed reassembly. What I've done is I've already put the extractor and plunger back into the slide because it takes too long to do and minutes are precious. So very quickly, you put the plunger in, compress it, at the same time you're pushing the extractor in. Like I said, it takes me a few minutes, so I went ahead and done that. It's pretty self-explanatory if you do it yourself. Next piece that's going to go in is going to be the firing pin. It's completely rounded on one side, and it's got a notch cut in it on the other. The notch that's cut in it is going to face down toward the bottom of the slide. And what you do is you drop it into the channel, and a lot of times, like it just did right there, it don't go in exactly as I need it. So just take a little screwdriver, and it's easy. You just spin it around to where you want it. About right there, stop. Next piece that's going to go on is going to be this thumb safety. Thumb safety has got this little tab, little nipple, whatever you want to call it, right there, and it's got a hole cut out inside the frame. That's got to fit in there first. So you're going to put this in backward, kind of like that. I like to look down through the top and get it in there first, and make sure that that piece goes right in, and it did. It's right in where it's supposed to be. I hope you could see that, and just simply go ahead and bring the safety back over and push down, just like that. And that's on safety, fire, safety, fire. Okay, it's completely reassembled now, the slide is. Let's move that out of the way. We're going to jump onto the frame real quickly. And the first piece that's going to go on the frame, make sure that your trigger guard is pulled down and pushed off to the side, is going to be the trigger itself. Just stick it up through the bottom of the frame, and there's a little shelf, and you'll feel it. As you can see right there, it just rides back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the trigger guard just so it doesn't slam on me as I'm working on the pistol and other areas. The next piece that's going to go on is going to be the trigger bar. Now the trigger bar also has a piece on there which I call the secondary sear. And I actually had to do a little grinding on this too because this was not working in double action, so I did some work to it. Once again, I am not a professional gunsmith, do not claim to be a professional gunsmith. I did consult somebody on it, and the work I have done here, which is grinding on that secondary sear and also on the hammer, this little cam on the hammer I took some down on, has worked. I put this pistol back together. It is now working in double action because of that, and I was assured that it will not go into a full auto burst or anything like that. I don't have to worry. So quickly, we got to work quickly. It's got the nipple or peg or whatever you want to call it right here. It's going to fit in the hole right there in the trigger. Stick it right on there, right on the trigger, and let it fall into the pistol. At this point, it's going to fall down through the bottom a lot of the times. Don't worry about that right yet. At one point, we're going to have to make sure that secondary sear is up, but right now is not the time to do that. Okay, the back of the pistol, you got a hole on each side. There's like a 3/4 hole, as you could see. On the hammer, it's got the pegs on each side, and they're shaped like the half moons. You almost got to rest it like flat on top of the frame and slide it in like so, and just go ahead and pull the hammer back. Now what's going on right now is it's hitting that secondary sear that's in there. So what I want to do is I want to push that up out of the way. What I did was use my index finger on the trigger to do that. Now I'm going to flip that secondary sear up. It is now up, and I'm going to hold it with my thumb back against the hammer, and I'm going to leave the frame tilted kind of like this. That way it helps me, it won't fall back down in there. The next piece that's going to go on is going to be your slide release or slide lock. As you can see, it's got a hole right there. It's going to line up with the hole in the frame right here. Obviously that goes on the inside, but you line the hole up. Now it's not going to line up perfectly, but you know, you get it close as you can get it. And the next piece that's going to go in is going to be the sear. The sear has a spring on one side and a full, complete peg. That peg is completely round. It's full. On the other side, it's got the half moon shape. The full side is going to go through the slide release and through the frame. And on this side, in this hole, it's got the 3/4 hole again, and you're going to have to work that down in there and then flip the sear up and back onto the hammer. So you got to kind of put it in there standing straight up, kind of like this. And you might have to jostle a little bit with it to get it in there. I kind of dropped it. I'll let the piece drop. Start that over. Okay. Here I go, I get on tape and I get nervous. And there it is. Okay, and you take the sear, like I said, push it back. It is now back and down onto the hammer itself. Now on that sear, we had that sear spring. I'm going to take my O-ring tool, I'm going to grab that sear spring. Hope you can see that, like this. I'm going to pull it up and over the top of the slide release or slide lock. This also acts as your ejector. When your extractor, your slide comes back, your spent casing hits that and it knocks it out of the ejection port. Let's go ahead and grab that. I find this O-ring tool works beautifully. I just flip it around the top like that and on, and it's on perfect, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hold the trigger down, just like that, and not let it go. That's going to help me keep that secondary sear in place. At the same time I'm holding that down, I'm going to take my other hand, use a screwdriver, I'm going to release the one sear up and push the hammer back. Actually, I got enough clearance. It's going to let me go ahead. Sometimes you got to use a screwdriver and lift it up and push the hammer up just like that. Keeping the trigger pulled back, I'm going to flip the pistol over. And at this point, the next piece that's going to go in is going to be the leaf spring. Now it will go in, it'll fall in place right where it needs to. You don't have to really worry about that. You just got to do a little jostling to make sure that the hole right here lines up with this hole, which is also a peg sticking out the back, and it'll fit on there, and that's where your screw goes through to also hold your grip on. So we're going to get that in next. Just going to get it in there, and you'll feel it. It hit the hammer there, I can feel it. You just got to kind of play with it a little bit. And there it is. It's on right there. Now keeping that hammer still pulled back. It's going to be under pressure. Now this retaining plate is going to be the next one that goes on. It only goes on one direction because this end's got two closed. It's got a lip on each side keeping it closed. There's a notch in the bottom of the frame right here. So we're going to take it, we're going to push down, at the same time push it up over the hole. So bear with me as I do this because it can be a little hard to do with one hand because it's under a little bit of pressure. And I got it. I'm gonna let it go at this point so I can get another bite on it. I'm gonna try not to let that trigger go. Okay, I got it on there. And what you do is you bring it and you line it up over that hole. Make sure you there's enough room on it to give yourself enough room around to get that screw back in when you put the your grip back on. I couldn't think of it. At this point, let's go ahead and cock the hammer back. Let the trigger go. Cock the hammer back. We're going to do not a safety function, but we're going to do a function test. I'm going to hold the hammer so it doesn't slam into anything. Pull the trigger, let the hammer go forward. Okay, at this point, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it in double action. Make sure that double action's working. And it is. It is. Okay. The next part to go on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the grip on. Simply slides right on the back just like that. Everything's good. The hole's going to line right up with your screw. Put the screw in. This is not the proper size screwdriver, and I always harp on that, so I'm not going to tighten this down real tight until I get the proper size screwdriver. There's my timer, so we have to hurry. Okay, the next piece to go back on is going to be the recoil spring. It's got a tight end and a loose end. You want to make sure the tight end goes on the barrel. Go ahead and cock the hammer back, and what we're going to do, this part right now I can do it in 2 seconds sometimes, and sometimes it takes me minutes. But basically what we're going to do, and you got to make sure that this trigger guard is down and pushed over. I almost made a mistake there. Go ahead and put it in, and we're just going to pull it back all the way, and it's on. Just like that. Go ahead and put your trigger guard back, up and in, and I know the gun's not loaded. We'll do a safety anyway. Not loaded. Safe direction. Pull the trigger. Safe direction. Let's try it double action. I also got a safety drop, just like that, which is great. I love double action's working. Everything's working, guys. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope this new angle that I got it on helped a little bit, and the lighting helped a little bit. And if it did, I hope to do quite a few more pistol videos anyway, and whatnot videos here. Rifles, it's going to be kind of hard to do. We'll figure out something with that, but hopefully the quality improved on this as the lighting and everything else did. The gentleman that needed that Sear replaced, if you need any help at all, please PM me. I thank everybody for their well wishes and their concerns on my health and my job. I really do appreciate it. And I thank all my subscribers, and I thank everybody who watches. That's it. Good night, YouTube.